to Spotlight. I'm Fran Pellegrino. Today I'm happy to welcome two members of the Queen's Opera Theater. They are co-founder Brian Gill, and he's also executive director, and his wife, Allison Gill, who is acting treasurer and board member. So welcome, guys. I'm so glad you could come today.
We're very glad to be here.
Thank you. Yes, thanks for having us.
And I'm looking forward to hearing about and eventually seeing your group perform. So please tell us how you got started, how the group got started, and when.
Sure. Co-founder Andy Anderson and I first met in the summer of 1995. We were both on stage crew at the Interlochen Arts Camp in Interlochen, Michigan. That summer, we quickly discovered a mutual affinity for all things opera, and we knew then that at some point we would work on a project together. And fast forward to December of 2015, Andy and his wife Meg, Astoria, New York, had us over for a nice dinner. Over the course of the conversation, Andy asked for my thoughts on the sound and concept of Queen's Opera Theater. And I immediately gave him the affirmative and asked him to tell me more, to which I believe his next question was, how would you like to be my executive director? So fast forward to April, this past April 15th, where we had a very successful...
Oh, so it was 15, so it was 2 years.
Yeah, so 15. To April of 2017, where we had our very successful inaugural season preview at Flushing Town Hall, where we are the proud recipients of a space grant.
Oh.
And what that entails, it's a very select number of clients are awarded this space grant by Ellen Kodadek, who is the artistic director of Flushing Town Hall. For a startup organization where funding is key, one of the main major costs is renting a space. With a space grant, we are very grateful that we are only responsible for our hard costs, things like piano tuning and having a house manager on board. So we're very grateful for that.
Oh, but having a space, that's wonderful.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
so many theater companies, and I'm talking about like who do productions of shows and all that.
Right.
It's so hard to get space to work in.
Right. Yeah, and Flushing Town Hall as a venue is such a beautiful
fabulous.
building,
And later
and it
on
has
we'll
so
see
much
a little
history.
video of
and
some of the stuff
good.
they
Yeah.
do. You know?
Yeah, and they've been really wonderful to work with.
They are.
Yeah.
And they do so much great stuff.
Yeah.
So your next, you'll be going there
In
around the
December,
holiday?
Around the
December.
holidays, we'll be having our inaugural production of Peter Ekstrom's The Gift of the Magi.
Oh, that's
We'll be performing 2 performances on the 17th and the 18th of December.
2017.
2017. 2017.
The 17th and the 18th of December. And actually, this information would be on your website.
Yes.
And of course, it'll be on Flushing Town Hall's website too,
Yes.
but it's the queensoperatheater.org. Very, very easy, right?
Right. And if I could just clarify, that's theater spelled THEATRE.
Yes.
Yeah,
.org.
good one.
Right, that's something.
Right.
And it wouldn't come up if you put ER, do you think? I wonder.
You know, I wonder.
The way the computers are today tells you pretty
Right,
much.
right.
But they can always check the dates. And if you have other performances, it'll be up there as well. So
Right.
Right.
performing other places. So do you, I mean, you rehearse, of course, at Flushing Town Hall, and then you do venues all over Queens pretty much, or you can go outside of Queens as well?
At this juncture in our development, we are dedicated to performing exclusively at Flushing Town Hall. There has also been some preliminary discussions with some of the local high schools to develop an educational curriculum for their art students. So that may lead to some community performances at the local high schools and
Right.
Socrates.
That would be terrific, because, I mean, as we know, opera is not something, you know, the kids will ever really get to see or want to see. And
Right.
you have to bring it to them.
Exactly,
Just like
and
theater,
then
any theater.
Right.
There's too much with television and
Right.
whatnot.
Right. Yeah, and
the
that's such a huge part of it. I know for Brian and Andy, it's really important to them to make it. They really want to make it accessible, you know, and kind of to your point, bringing it to people, especially to schools, and where, you know, I think if you're not necessarily naturally inclined to go after it, once you do have it kind of brought to you and you start to learn about it, it's really amazing to get engaged in it. One of the other things we've been talking about doing is doing these sort of less formal kind of night of song type events that we want to start in the new year, which would be more in kind of local establishments around Queens. It wouldn't be like formal productions in a theater, but we would do some kind of, you know, bring singers into maybe a restaurant or a bar that has a piano and have it kind of be a little bit like open mic-ish.
I was going to say a little cabaret venue, but for opera.
Yes, exactly. Cabaret is probably how I should have said it, right? So that would be, I think, a really good way too to just kind of make the community aware and kind of get it in front of people.
There's
so
an awful
in the new
lot
year,
of
we're going to
cabaret.
look to do
Of
that.
course, we know in Manhattan there's so much cabaret.
Yes.
But I wonder if there's any opera.
Right.
I wonder if there's any outlet like that.
Sorry.
There actually was,
Yeah.
on the Upper West Side, there was a gentleman that had an opera cafe for a little bit on 110th and Broadway. That has since gone out of business. But that was sort of the genesis of our idea, was kind of bringing it to Queens.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you know the name of that
That
venue?
That was, I believe
It was Cafe Tachi.
It was Cafe Tachi.
And now he does it
on the east side, like East
Yes.
45th. And
I know he does it what?
he does it as a...
He still does it on Saturday nights. Sorry, I don't know. I can't remember.
You know what?
But there's like
I do
yeah.
recall going to, my God, this is so many years ago. It was a restaurant, and the singers would just be at a table, and they would start, and it was opera.
Oh, that's
They would
fantastic,
just
yeah.
start singing. Maybe they'd get out of their seat, walk around a little bit.
Right.
And I can't recall the name of the
Yeah,
place, but it was so
yeah.
many years ago. I wonder if it was.
Right.
Very possible.
So he was there a long time.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was then.
Yeah.
40, would you say 40?
Yeah, he's 45th between 5th and Madison.
I bet. I would bet that was it.
Yeah.
So you
Right.
have to.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be a restaurant.
And
Just
right, exactly.
Whatever place where young performers can come
Right.
and do their thing to an audience, and that's so important to perform in front of an audience.
Right, exactly. It gives them an opportunity to do that too. And you know, in New York right now, there is something called the New York Opera Alliance, and they've done an opera fest that is a little bit like this, what we're talking about, but there isn't anything in Queens. So that was, you know, a big part of kind of being in Queens, I think too, is that it's, you know, it's the one borough that kind of doesn't have this kind of thing already. So.
Oh, it is the one part that doesn't
Yeah.
have it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that many years ago there were several smaller companies, and through the passage of time and other reasons they've gone out of business. So we're kind of taking the lead, and
It's a
very
tough road.
untapped market.
Right.
Kind of like Shakespeare, you think?
Right. Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
I went to something recently. My husband and I, we were game for it. I don't Shakespeare, but I still appreciate
Right.
whatever I can get out of it.
Yes,
You know, it's
yes.
it's not my thing, but
Yeah.
I want to learn at this age. I want
Right.
to still get
Yeah.
through to that.
It's.
So.
I think it's actually very similar in that vein of kind of, even when you're new to it, which I am. I mean, Brian and Andy too. They've been opera lovers all their lives, and you know, and I'm learning right now. And there is something about that it's very kind of similar to Shakespeare in that once you do start to learn, you sort of have this. There's a lot of recognition in it.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
you know
exciting.
a lot of the music. You just don't realize you know it until, and then you're, oh, I know this. And the same thing happens with Shakespeare, right? Like a lot of language
oh my God.
has come from.
So true.
Yeah,
I did
yeah.
some singing in my past.
Right.
And one of the accompanists that I had was
Yeah.
that I said to her one day, there was something that I just hummed this thing to her, and she said, "Oh, that's from Carmen."
Oh, isn't that funny?
Carmen, it's in
Yeah.
a popular song.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
And
I would attempt it right now, but I'm not going
Recently,
to.
I heard something like that too. I can't recall what it was though.
Yeah.
But
And,
Right.
and
There you
just another famous sort of crossover and bringing it to the masses is the very famous Bugs Bunny, What's Opera Doc, where Bugs Bunny and other characters sing selections from Wagner's Ring Cycle. And for many people, that was their first exposure to opera.
Yeah, right.
Few people,
Right.
can they look that
They
up
can
on
look
the
it
net?
on
You can look it up on the
YouTube.com.
net.
Yeah. It would
And
be
it's What's
What's
Opera Doc?
Mm-hmm.
That's all, folks? That same
Yes, yes.
cartoon?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. For
Yeah.
kids. How about we have some pictures of your performers. Now, you guys don't perform.
We do not.
No.
No. I'm actually a trained classical trumpet player, but
Oh, I did read it, yeah.
but you don't want to hear me sing.
Yeah, right.
Oh, okay. But, yeah, there's your group now. There's, I think there's a, what's 5, 6, 7?
Yes.
6 or 7?
Yes. So that the photo that viewers are looking at is of Andy Anderson, who's on the far right.
Oh, that's-
yeah,
that's
he is the co-founder and the
co-founder.
artistic director, and then our accompanist and 5 singers performing at our inaugural season preview back in April, which I might add, we produced a sold-out at-capacity audience on. It was actually the Saturday before Easter Sunday, so we were
At Flushing
at
Town Hall?
Flushing Town Hall.
And it was a
Yeah.
sellout.
Yes,
Oh,
it
great.
was.
Oh, it's
yeah.
a great venue,
Yeah,
too.
it's really a great venue.
They have
yeah.
a great theater.
Right.
A really nice theater. And I think there's another photo as well.
Right.
There they go, taking their bows.
Curtain
Yes.
call, yeah.
That's great. Now, you still have the same company of singers,
Yes, yes.
pretty much.
Mhm.
And one more shot. Oh,
Oh,
there,
there
you
we
go.
go. There's Brian. He's
Yeah.
in that one in the back.
In the back
Oh, there
next
you are.
stand.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that
So
was a-
how did you, do you audition? Are you looking to make the group bigger, or do you want to keep it 5 or 6?
It's a very good question. I'm so glad you asked. We will be making an announcement shortly on the casting for Gift of the Magi. And so viewers can look at our website, again, queensoperatheater.org. For that.
TRE.
TRE, thank you. And then when we will plan to present The Tragedy of Carmen
I see it.
in May,
Yeah.
also at Flushing Town Hall. And so that will be a larger cast, and we'll
Right.
hope to engage
Oh,
community
so you've got
members.
December
and-
coming up, and
and
it's a
then-
definite for May,
for May.
And it'll be Carmen?
Yeah, so The Tragedy of
So it'll be
Carmen,
May, that'll be May 2018.
2018.
Yes.
And just to clarify, The Tragedy of Carmen is an abridged version, for lack of a better word, of the opera Carmen. It was done by the playwright Peter Brook in the early 80s, and it was produced by New York City Opera.
Oh, he made this different version?
It's the same story. What's the Dragnet say? You know, that the facts have been changed to protect the innocent. I mean, it was not, but the plot is still the same principal characters. It just this version that viewers and fans will come to see comes without the dance music that you would see in the full production, for example, at the Metropolitan Opera.
Oh, because
So it's kind of
dancers
shorter,
are
Yeah.
a premium to get, right?
Yes.
So so you'll be holding your auditions, and what would be the criteria? What would be the background that they have to have?
Sure.
Because you can't, I mean, I never sing opera. I come in,
Yeah.
I sing,
Right.
you know, cabaret and
say
things
that,
like that,
yeah.
but
yeah.
Yeah. So I would something.
anybody will come in, because you know,
Yeah.
Right.
you've watched
Well,
those
right,
shows on
exactly.
television.
Yeah. And the goal is that we will be hiring professional, musicians, singers, and orchestra members, and all of that. I think for this initial production of The Gift of the Magi, it's a small cast, and I think that the musical instruments will be limited. So we are kind of starting small, but then as we grow, and hopefully also, we're kind of continuously raising funds.
Yeah.
The idea would be to kind of be able to hire, professional musicians, singers, all
Right.
of that. Yeah.
Now, will your
Yes.
company performers,
Yeah.
will they'll audition just like everyone for both of the shows?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
they'll audition too,
Yeah,
because you have to. It has to be fair.
Right.
To
Right.
anybody coming in,
Right.
if they want to have the same shot as somebody who's in your
Who's
theater
already part of the core group. Yeah,
in the-
right.
in the-
Yeah.
the
Sure.
core group,
Yes.
say.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And so, do you have anything planned for anything in the area besides, like in December, the Flushing Town Hall?
Well, in the immediate metropolitan area, we are in discussion with the management at Pete's Tavern to organize a gala. We're targeting sometime in early November, a gala fundraiser and dinner. And the historical significance why we chose Pete's Tavern is that it was the bar that O. Henry made famous, and he's reported that he wrote The Gift of the Magi short story just, I think, in the second booth as you walk into Pete's Tavern.
Oh, and where is Pete's Tavern?
Pete's Tavern is on East 18th Street and Irving Place,
Yeah, right by Union Square.
right by Union Square.
Yeah, so
So,
that's where
so
it
very,
was
very
from.
convenient for.
So you would have it performing there too? Besides the gala, there would be some performers?
For this event, we are limited on space and lack of a piano, so we'll be highlighting our upcoming performances as well as raising some bucks.
Right.
A lot of work. So
Yeah.
I mean,
Right,
this
right.
is your
Yeah.
love, and you have your other stuff. I'm
Yeah.
sure that
Right.
you do
Right.
to live.
Yeah.
So your other background, if you want to talk about
Sure,
it.
sure. So I have degrees from the University of Texas at Arlington in music business, and then I went on to the University of Michigan, go Blue, where I got a Master of Music in Trumpet Performance. Since moving to New York, I have managed, been on the administration at Carnegie Hall and the Metropolitan
gonna say,
Museum
I
of
saw a
Art.
lot of-
I've
yeah.
ushered for the Metropolitan Opera and the American Ballet Theater. And so it's just a really, at this point in my career, it's a really good marriage of all of my background leading up to it.
And do you get a chance to perform anymore? You're
It ver-
often busy
yeah,
too.
yeah, not as often as one would like, but this is really, as you said before, to use your word, this is my passion.
Right.
Passion is usually better than
Mhm.
Yeah.
the
yeah.
other stuff, but
Right.
Yes.
got to do what you got to do.
Right.
And
And
Amazing.
I actually work I work for an agency called TPN, which is a retail marketing agency, and I've been in that kind of line of work for most of my career. It's really, it's a fun business, a lot of, kind of
advertising. Yeah.
promotion, and, the retail space right now is really interesting with kind of what's going on with the way people shop and the confluence of technology and behavior and
So
things
what's
like
going on
that.
with the way
So
people shop? You mean
Well-
as far as how the internet is affecting those
yes,
things? So that's what
yes,
it's talking
and really
about.
just kind of digital tool. Really, I mean, it's our mobile phone, right? So because you can do everything on your phone, and so it's really having a big impact on brick and mortar retail right now. Is really they're kind of facing.
What are they gonna
less
do
foot
with all these
traffic,
malls?
exactly.
Jeez.
So,
Jeez.
trying to make, kind of the physical retail more experiential, as well as making sure we're helping, brands that are kind of making this, not transitioning completely, but kind of adding e-commerce and mobile shopping and things like that to their marketing is really,
Yeah, and
is
that's-
you can't just put a sign up in a store anymore. You really have to think about the whole
thing,
kind of path.
how you
yeah.
sell online and everything. And not to get
Right.
totally off
Yeah.
topic
Yeah.
of the opera, but
Right.
that's so interesting because
Yeah,
that's
it's
all you hear now. Is so
Yeah.
your company must be like,
Right.
Right. Yeah, it is. It's
booming.
great. It's an
It's-
exciting time to be
yeah.
in this business because it's a lot to figure out, and it's people kind of everybody knows they need to do it, and it's kind of you feel like, oh, we need to keep up, but it's
what I did,
yeah.
I did come up with ideas for all these spaces.
right.
That's the
Well,
thing.
right. All the
Little
empty
theaters.
space that's going to be there. Yeah, exactly. We'll bring some live performance to the
put some theaters
to
in
the
there.
empty aisles. Yeah.
Anyway, want to take a look at some of the Flushing Town Hall video?
I think
the
that'd be
Flushing
wonderful.
Town Hall
Yeah,
video.
great.
Unfortunately, you guys aren't in it. You're new to the venue right now, but they have some great upcoming things for the fall and winter season of 2017. So we're going to take a look at the video of some of the upcoming performers that will be there.
Hallelujah.
Well, it's a great variety of entertainment, from Latin music to, oh my gosh, drum.
Right. There's some
drums
Chinese
and
opera.
Chinese
Right.
opera, and
Right, a lot of
Tell me.
world music, and that's
World,
right,
yes, there's a
and
lot of that.
the variety of programming is really great, and that's what again, as we've been learning about Flushing Town Hall, it's such a fantastic venue. And
is it new to you,
we're really-
Flushing Town Hall?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
so how did you discover it?
Actually, when Andy and I were first visiting sites, a contact that Andy knew put us in touch with their technical director, set up a meeting with him, and that eventually led to a meeting with Ellen Kodadek. And so it was like almost, we feel like a feather on our cap, really.
So you knew someone. Well, it's
Yeah.
great that you have a space.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
It's really important.
fantastic. And
Yeah.
they do those jazz things, the jazz
The jazz jams.
workshop
Mm-hmm.
as well.
Right.
I had her on the show.
I'm most excited that believe it's sometime around November. They're actually having a cheese festival in
Yes,
Flushing
they
Town
are.
Hall.
They do.
Yes, they are.
They do all these things.
So it's-
Oh,
Yes.
they had an Indian food.
The Indian Food Festival,
Right.
and they
Yeah.
also do art exhibitions and photography exhibitions in their reception space.
Right.
So.
And there's another. They're doing an interactive opera performance as well. I don't know exactly what it's called, but that's in the program, or I'm sure it's on their website too.
Now, of course, to go to the performance in December, people, if they've never seen opera, maybe should they know a little bit about the story? It's a beautiful story. Is it good to tell it, you think, or not?
I would just direct people, if they wanted to know a little bit more about the story, is to there are videos and excerpts on YouTube.com of the Gift of the Magi
Oh,
performance
sure, I bet.
at Peter Ekstrom. But I mean, it's a timeless short story, and
Right. It's been
you know,
repeated
and
in so many different
Right.
ways.
Yeah, and it's perfect for the holidays too. The story is set at Christmas time, and it's a good family kind of
yeah.
entertainment day out.
Oh,
for the
family
holidays.
entertainment.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
That's
Right.
the thing. Flushing Town Hall has a tremendous amount
Right.
of good family entertainment.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything you couldn't bring
Right.
a young person to. I'm not sure, but I'm
Right.
pretty sure
Right.
that there isn't.
Yeah.
So it just you should be very proud that they gave you that space. That's wonderful. How often do you have rehearsals?
Well, actually,
Once you start.
Once we start, we'll do typically the week leading up to the performance in December. We'll do 2 or 3 rehearsals at a site to be determined. But again, with that production being limited to cast of 2, it's just Jim and Della from the story Gift of the Magi. So I think maybe two 4-hour days or 2 8-hour days of rehearsal, and basically
then
the
towards
staging.
the end, you can
yeah,
say
they're
right,
ramping
right,
up.
right.
Yeah, you're ramping
Yeah.
it up and actually staging and plotting on this stage of Flushing Town Hall.
Now the next one that you will do will be
We'll be
in
perform-
April. You said
in May.
Oh, in May, Carmen. Now
Yeah.
that'll have a bigger cast.
That would be it would be a much bigger
and
cast.
that you'll be really looking for perform. So people who want to get in touch with you, do they go to the queensoperatheater.org?
Yes, that-
and just watch that when you post the auditions, it'll be there. and audition time
yes, it
will
will
be
be
there?
posted on queensoperatheater.org.
Before you know it, what month are we in?
Right, exactly. It all-
absolutely. Time marches on.
Yes.
That's right.
Uh-huh.
So
Right.
you'll post it on there when you start auditioning, and
Right.
Right.
Where-
And
where
we'll
will it
also
be
audition
often?
orchestra musicians because we want to have a full
so
orchestra
you've got
for that production.
for musicians
Yeah.
and the
musicians and the
opera
vocalists.
singers.
Right.
Fantastic, fantastic. So
Very
I'm
exciting.
very
It's
anxious to
exciting.
see both of the shows, and we've got about a minute or so to wrap up. And
Okay.
if there's some message you want to impart, or just follow opera, whatever, come and see the show in December. Again, the dates.
December 17th and 18th, 2017.
Right.
You got it.
2017.
2017, and I'm sure there'll be other shows coming up.
Right.
And again, check with Flushing Town Hall, but your QueensOperaTheater.org website to see if you'll be performing anywhere else, or if you get the venue to perform like cabaret style opera.
Yes.
That would be great.
we'll
So
definitely-
it'll be all posted
That'll
there.
all be posted. Yep.
And I thank you for watching, and I thank you both so much for being
Thank
my
you so much
guests.
for
Thank you,
having
Fran.
us. It was
And you
great
must
talking
come
to you.
back with your
Yes.
company to
Great.
sing. With
Great.
your-
We look forward to it.
We look forward to it.
with your opera company. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye now.